So today I'm going to start with my cloud AWS Academy Cloud Architecting, right? In this course, first section is that the course objective and overview. So we're going to take an example for cave business, right? Some X is going to start a cave, right? When X is going to start a cave, who are all the persons who are responsible for the cave, right? What are the roles they are going to perform, right? All those stuff we are going to discuss in this module, right? Roles in the cloud computing, or based on the cloud computing, because they wanted to invent and they wanted to introduce cloud computing, AWS cloud computing for their cave, for the cave which they are going to establish. Got it? So that is the problem that we are taking. Having with the same problem, what all we are going to what all they are going to install, what are they going to configure. So what makes them to configure that? So module by module we will discuss, right? At the end of this module, right, you should be able to identify the course prerequisites and objectives, right? And then recognize the key business cases, indicate the role of the cloud architect. What is the role of the cloud architect? All these things you will come to understand, right? So now the first session, this is a course objective and overview, right? So here, right, the completion of AWS Academy Cloud Foundation course, right? You are going to finish it off, right? You should have finished off. The prerequisite is that you should have completed this Cloud Foundation course. If not, also no problem. Don't worry about it, right? That is a prerequisite, right? Which help you to understand more very well, which helps you to understand very well properly, right? So a lot of jargons are there here, like so that if you understand, if you're already done it, then not a problem, right? So that this course will be quite easy, right? So then otherwise we'll make it easy, no problem. I'll train you such a way that you understand it, right? So what is on similar level of knowledge of Amazon Web Services. So if at all, if you could pass the cloud practice exam, it's well and good. Or else no problem, you can directly go with AWS architecting, right? A solution architecting associate exam. So before that, we don't have cloud practitioner or cloud foundation course at all. In 2017, I believe they brought this cloud foundation course because the students should have a basic understanding of what is cloud architecting and what are the services offered by the cloud, especially with respect to AWS, right? So that they brought a basic course, right? So once they learn the basic course, in that cloud foundation, they train you with 40 services there. So the extension is going to be this cloud architecting, right? So additionally, you should have a IT technical knowledge. All these things itself I told you yesterday, right? So on the completion of this course, what you will do, make architectural decision. You'll make architectural decision based on the architect principles and best practices. Here we have a lot of best practices, right? For each and everything, you might use best practices, right? And use AWS services to make your infrastructure scalable, reliable, highly available, fault tolerant, right? So then the next one is use AWS managed service. I'll tell you in detail managed service then and there when with respect to AWS RDS, when we use an RDS, what is the managed service and other services. Whenever I use a term called managed service. I'll tell you then and there. Right. We're going to use AWS managed service to enable greater flexibility and resilience in the infrastructure. Got it? So the next one is indicate how to increase the performance efficiency and how to reduce the cost of the infrastructure built on AWS. And you will come to know well architecture framework, right? There are 5 pillars here. So we are going to discuss about those 5 pillars today, right? So within well architecture framework and also the best practices to improve your architecture and the use of AWS solution. This is what, right? So you will come to know. Yesterday itself, I told you about these 15 modules. Once again, I'll tell you, what all will be covering in this AWS Solution Architect course here. With the help of this, you can attempt your certification exam, can clear your exam, but for clearing your exam, what is needed, what is this alone will help you, right? But followed with, you have to do additionally, you have to read the white papers, right? Compulsorily, mandatorily, you have to read the white papers. Elaborate description would be given there in the white papers. You have to study for, especially for certification. Even certification is mandatory. If you take a certification, it will be helpful for you to get a job in the company, in the market. You can sell yourself in the market. Got it? So, like, what all things we are going to discuss? Like, we are going to discuss about welcome to AWS Cloud Architecting. We come to know what is architecting, right? So, like, introduction about cloud architecting. The second, third module, we are going to discuss about storage layer. In the storage layer, we are going to discuss about S3 bucket, right? And fourth module, we are going to discuss about compute layer, where we're going to discuss about EC2, EBS, EFS, all this stuff, right? Then in fifth module, we're going to discuss about the database, relation database system, Aurora DB, right? And in the sixth module, we'll discuss about networking environment, how to create a networking environment, right? So like we will discuss about CIDR number and all this stuff, right? Even connecting network also, we are going to discuss about CIDR number, right? And like other resources, what are the other resources we're going to use to connect with your network? Then in the module 8, we're going to secure your user application here. We're going to discuss about IA, right? Identity access management. So then in the module 9, so implementing the elasticity, high availability monitoring, all those stuff we discussed. Then module 10, we're going to discuss about automating your architecture. Module 11, we're going to discuss about catching content. How do you catch your content, right? So with respect to web application and all this stuff, right? We'll discuss here. Then module 12, how to build your decoupled architecture. And then what are the microservices, serverless architecture we use it here. That we are going to discuss in module 13, and we'll plan for the disaster recovery. And 15th module is not nothing but how to bridge your certification. So once you complete your certification, which will help you to market yourself in the market, right? So that you can get placed in the company. But now the market can be dull, right? But anyway, it is going to regain again. Now slowly it is getting regained. So like all the companies started getting projects, they are started getting projects. Now slowly all the interviews will happen so that you can once you complete this course, by then once you complete your certification, you can market yourself, right? Either in India or US or other countries also you can market yourself, right? So in this module 2, now we'll directly go to module 2. Then module 1 is nothing but like is in this module 1, we'll discuss what all things that we are going to cover. Now the module 2, what all things see, like we are going to discuss about cloud architecting, Amazon Web Service, well architecture framework, best practices, global infrastructure, right? In module 3, we are going to discuss about like S3 bucket, storing your data in S3 bucket, moving your data from Amazon S3 to some other S3, right? And choosing the region for the architecture, right? Whereas coming to compute layer, as I told you already, we're going to discuss about EC2 instance elaborately and about EBS and EFS also, right? So now module 5, we are going to discuss about the database here, right? What are the database like it supports, right? Here it supports 2 kind of databases. One is going to be relational database. The other one is called a non-relational database. In non-relational database, we have a list of databases available here, like MongoDB, Cassandra, CoffDB, right? All these databases are supported by AWS. So it depends upon the requirement, depends upon the need, you're going to use whether you're going to use a traditional database or non-traditional database is up to you, right? And we're going to provide security controls, right? And we're going to migrate the data with the AWS database, right? All those things we're going to discuss in module 5. Module 6, we're going to get ready for connecting with the network, internet, right? So like gateways, we're going to discuss about a lot of gateways, internet gateway, right? So we're going to discuss about the private subnet and public subnet, how public subnet will be connected with the internet gateway, and how the private subnet is also needed. It also needs an internet. How the private subnet also will be connected with your internet gateway, right? So there, for each and everything, we're going to use. We're going to see an architecture diagram. We're going to discuss architecture diagram, use cases, all those things we're going to discuss, right? So then, apart from module 7, so we're going to discuss about VPN here, different types of VPN. Like we are going to discuss about site-to-site VPN, then how to connect with AWS direct connectors like a hotline. I think, hope you guys will know about hotline, right? So like when you have a hotline, right, what directly you take a phone here, the other guy also will take a phone there, and directly you're going to, it is going to be a private network, right? Similar way, the AWS direct connect also going to be the same, right? For understanding, I'm telling you this. Then about a VPC, we're like a VPC peering. We will have multiple VPC, and we're going to create a peering ID, and we're going to connect. We're going to make it peering, and we're going to store the data workloads in different locations. Right. For this, we're going to discuss about VPC peering and scaling your VPC network with transit gateway. Instead of using VPC peering, instead of using direct network, direct connect, instead of using site-to-site VPN, we can use transit gateway. Yeah, along with transit gateway, we can use VPN also. Right? And how do you connect with the customer gateway? Right? All these things we're going to discuss here in scaling your VPC network. And finally, we're going to discuss about connecting your VPC to supported AWS services. So these are we're going to discuss in 7th module. 8th module, as I told you, about your organization user, your federation user, multiple accounts, root account. Yesterday itself, I told you how to create a root account. What is the use of root account? Right? All these things we'll cover with module 8 and module 9. So we are going to implement monitoring tools here, like scaling your computer resources, how you're going to scale your database, design an environment that is highly available. And here we will see a lot of monitoring tools here. Like so many tools are there, like cloud trials, right? So many tools are available, right? We're going to discuss about all the stuff, right? Then we are going to discuss about module 10. So reason to automate and automating your infrastructure, automating your deployment, right? Then the elastic beanstalk. Well, you know very well what is elastic beanstalk in order to maintain your web application, right? That case, we use a server called elastic beanstalk, right? So we're going to distribute all the stuff, right? Then 11, catching content. How you use a catching? What is the use of catching here? Edge catching, right? So like edge catching, and then we're going to discuss about web session, catching database, all those stuff. And decoupling your architecture. Here we're going to discuss about Amazon simple notification service and simple queue service, and sending message between cloud application and on-premises with Amazon MQ. Right, these all we are going to discuss. And module 13, we are going to discuss about microservices, like serverless service called Lambda services, right? And extending your serverless architecture with API gateways, right? So orchestrating your microservices with AWS step function. These all we are going to discuss. And finally, we are going to discuss about planning your disaster recovery, right? And you're going to discuss about bridging your certificate. Fine. Now we'll come back here to section 2. And in section 2, there's a cave, right? I told you already, I'm going to take this example called cave, right? So cave discuss case introduction. So this is a cave and bakery, right? He's the owner of the cave here, and his wife, right? She's an accountant, and she's taking care of the cave. So he's from military. He has resigned, he's come out of the military, and he's interested to start a cave, right? Cave and bakery. So this guy will bake the cakes properly, and he loves to bake the cakes properly, and he wanted to start a cave here, right? So let me see who are the staff for the cave here. Like Frank, just now I told you, he's a co-owner of the cave, retired from Navy, likes to bake, and is a non-technical. Where is coming Martha? She's a co-owner of the cave, right? Retired accountant, and she knows how to use spreadsheets and other things. Where is coming is Sophia's daughter, right? She's studying a technical course in the university, right? But she wanted to manage the cave here, for which she's going to use supply chain, right? Manages the cave with supply chain here. And she has technical skills, she has programming skills, right? All this stuff, and she's a student, right? and she started using AWS here. The next one, Nikhil, is a guy who's going to help the cave here, for which he's going to do the visual designing, right? Interested in learning cloud computing, might take more responsibilities for the cave when Sophia goes to the university for study, right? So now, so things that here, AWS cave is there here, Olivia, right? She's a solution architect, right? She's going to help to connect with the database, right? And providing a solution for the network technologies, right? She's technically sound. Right, then five, right? A developer experience with AWS programming interface, knowledge about cloud security she has, and Matthew is a system administrator engineer, likes to find a way to automate and to create a repeatable solution. Know the importance of backup and disaster recovery in the solution design. He knows about the backup, how to take backup, how to do how to manage the disaster recovery, all those stuff, right? So these people are going to be the visitor, and later on they're going to help them, right? So for the, but now using this, we're going to build a solution, right? For this, we're going to build a solution here. You will build a solution for the cave in the challenge lab in the course here, right? As I told you, we have two labs here. One is going to be our guided lab. The other one is called challenge lab. Guided lab will have an instruction. I'll show the instruction, but here, thing is that you cannot log into the AWS Academy lab here, right? So as I told you yesterday, like because, right, so thing is that you have to log in with your own login, and with the help of instruction, you're going to create, and then you're going to complete your lab there. Got it? So, but so whatever slides I'm showing you here, so this is because I'm an educator, AWS educator, right? So that I've been allowed to use, and for some colleges, for some companies, it has been allowed, right? But it should not be allowed outside, right? But still, I just wanted to train you, like, so that I'm showing, I'm sharing, right? This is a direct AWS slides, got it? So, like, so the thing is that now we are going to discuss about roles in cloud computing, right? What are the roles that are available in the cloud computing, right? So, like, we have something called IT professional, right? And the cloud computing, what are the roles? You know very well, right? These are all the terms that you should know, right? So, you should come to know, like IT professional, like generalist, might manage an application, often manage a production environment, highly technical. So she's going to manage the production environment, is highly technical, might have significant and limited experience in cloud technology, might specialize in one area, such as security storage. So what are the job titles here with IT professionals would do? Like there might be a IT administrator, system administrator, network administrator. Those guys who are from network administrator, IT system administrator, right? They can go for the next level. For that case, you can do this course here, solution architect. But it is not only for them. The guys who wanted to go for cross-platform, cross-technology, from civil to IT, right? Without writing any coding, I want to do IT, I want to become an IT professional. Those people, they can study this course. Got it? So the freshers, the students who are freshers, so they can do this course, right? More like in the most of the colleges, right? What they do, like most of the students will be studying IT, right? They will not be able to write programming. So such cases, those guys, they can take these courses and can get they can do this course, and they can get a highly paid job which is equivalent to like programming. As an experienced Java developer, how can I get leverage from AWS? Yeah, you can. Yes, you can go as a AWS developer, right? Yes, either you can go as a. Here we have different options, different this thing are there. Like either if you want to go here with the solution angle, also you can go it, or else you can go as a developer, AWS developer, right? Using this platform, you can manage all your web application and everything, right? So inside the server, you're going to maintain the web application, all this stuff, right? So, but still, you can develop your application, you can maintain with your AWS also. Yes. You can also do it, no problem. Right, but for which what is required is 2 years. I think you are already experienced, right? You can go ahead directly. You can also do your developer course. Right. Once you complete this course, then you can go for developer course, and then you can do developer also. Right. There's so many are there. Right. Professional is there. Right. The next course is going to be professional. Then you have developer. Right. So security is there. Right. So many are there. Right. You can do it. Right. So this is all about the IT professional. Next one is IT leader. So leads a team of IT professional responsible for day-to-day operation, manage not to manage a budget, stay informed about and choose new technologies. Right. So hands-on during early stages of project, then delegate the team to take over. Right. So these are the works of IT leader. Who are all going to be the IT leader? Like IT manager, IT director, IT supervisor. Right. So like these guys will be responsible like for IT leader, right? The next one is developer. That's now you told, right? So what does the developer would do? They are going to write the code, test and check the code, right? They think about the project in the application level, like sample codes, and they work with the APIs and SDK. Here also you can use SDK. Yesterday itself I told you like three ways that I can able to connect with AWS. One is called management console, the other one is CLI, the other one is SDK, software development kit, right? Whenever you want to develop any application, right, web application or any other application, you are going to use software development kit, or you're going to, in case you want to integrate, that case you're going to use API, right? So the developer here, the developer can also do it, right? So with AWS, even I've seen so many guys who have developed a very big application, and they have deployed their application in AWS. So to maintain and right, so whereas because of AWS, right, we they provide security and for it is reliable, right, available 24/7 is available, right. So right, the developer can develop the application, and they can deploy their application in this AWS platform. So the job title for them is going to be software developer, system architect, software development manager, right? These are the roles for developer. Right. Next one is DevOps engineer. You know DevOps, right? Combination of development and operation. Builds on the infrastructure that application run on, often in the cloud, right? Follow the guidelines of the cloud architect, and prefer experimenting and trying things out rather a lot of reading. Instead of reading, he'll try to do a lot of experimenting here. Got it. So who the job titles are going to be DevOps engineer, reliability engineer, build engineer, right? Now next one is cloud architect, right? So stays up to date with new technology, help decide which to use. So many tools are here, right? Out of which, right, the architect will come to know, will decide which tool to use, and going to provide the documentation process and tooling to developers, use developer freedom to innovate, right? So the common challenges here are like resource management, cost optimization, defining the best practices for performance, reliability, security, right? Like for this, we have cloud architect, system engineer, system analyst, right? So likewise, we have different roles in AWS, right? And now you can see the certifications are available in different levels. Now see here, we have something called AWS Solution Architect, but actually start with AWS Solution Architect. But now it has been leveraged, and now you have something called Cloud Foundation. That is what this is, a foundation level. In case you want, you can take up to get a confident and all the stuff. You can go start with your cloud practitioner. So once you come to know about the AWS and all the stuff, right, then you can go for associate level. In the associate level, for 1 year experiment is more than sufficient. With that, you can take up your associate level, right? So, but here the question is going to be quite easy, right? So, but whereas coming to solution architect, a scenario would be given there. A scenario. You have to understand the scenario, based on that you have to select the answer, right? So then, so here associate level, we have architect, then operation, then developer, out of which anyone can take, right? Then you can go for professional level. So, but here you require 2 years of experience, right? So, tell us that you can, in that case, you can go for solution architect professional. Is going to be the next level, and you will know the toughness here, right? And similar way here also, like operation, either you can go for operation or developer. So, in that cases, in the professional level, you can go for developer, DevOps engineer profession here. Apart from that, we have specialty certification here: advanced networking, security, machine learning, Alexa skill builder, data analytics, database. Like we have a specialty certification also, right? Based on the needs, based on the requirements, you can do all the certification, right? So this is all about the certification, all the details here. Got it. The next one is like we'll go to the next module. Yeah, I think like if we complete 3 modules in a week, well, you're right, so that you can complete within 5 weeks. Correct. So thing is that like we'll go to the second module here. The second module we're going to discuss about introducing your cloud architect. First of all, we should know what is cloud architecting all about. Right. In this module, we're going to discuss about what is cloud architecting. We're going to discuss about well architecture framework, best practices, and AWS global infrastructure. Right. So this thing will be taught to you like right at the end of this module, you're going to define about cloud architecting, describe how to design and evaluate the architecture using well architecture framework, and the best practices here, and how to make informed decision on where to place the AWS resource. Right, these all will come to know at the end of this module. Right. So now we can see the list of tools and resources which are connected. This is the large architecture. Right. This is a large architecture here. Now you tend to connect, being a user, you tend to connect with your AWS here. Right. So this is a large architect, right? Being a user, you tend to connect with the AWS, right? Inside the AWS, we're going to choose a region like Ohio, right? So now we have got a latest region also in India. Actually, we have only Mumbai as a region, but now we got Hyderabad also as a region. A new region has been created, identified and created. So now the latest region is going to be Hyderabad. You can select Hyderabad also. Got it. So inside the region, what all we have VCP, which we call as virtual private cloud, right? So inside the VPC, we have something called availability zone. Right, inside this region, we have that VPC is spanned on availability zone here. Like we have availability zone 1, availability zone 2. Right. So, and at the same time, right. So in the availability zone 1, we have something called so public subnet and private subnet here. Right. So I'll tell you what is subnet and all those later, right? So we have public subnet and private subnet, right? So the public subnet in turn will have a internet connection, right? Directly you'll be connected to your internet gateway. You'll get internet here, right? So you can be connected with your EC2 instance, right? And also you can connect with elastic cache for machine memory catching. For memory catching can be connected, right? So likewise, we'll be connected with EC2 instance, then we'll be connected with Amazon RDS, relation database, right? So then we are going to connect with your Amazon EFS mount target here. Right? So in the availability zone, we're going to have all these resources here, right? All again through the internet gateway. So we are going to have Amazon Route 53 is meant for routing, right? And Amazon CloudFront is nothing but for content delivery network, right? We use CloudFront here. So like I'm going to store I'm going to store all the objects here in my static what I'm going to store in S3, I'm going to store in my static website, right? So all these static website information, all the objects, I'm going to store it on the S3 bucket here. So in turn, it has been connected here, right? And similarly, we have availability zone 2, same way here. So we have something called NAT gateway here, network access gateway. We have NAT gateway here. So why do we use NAT gateway? Is that right? In case the private subnet want to be connected with the internet, right? So the database will be connected only with private subnet, right? So in case when I want to fetch any data from the databases, all the stuff, we require an internet. We have to give a request and we have to get a response. So that in case, right, so that in order to connect with internet gateway, we require NAT gateway here. Using NAT gateway, the NAT gateway will be connected with internet gateway and will be connected to your what is it, like a database or with your private subnet also. It will be connected with your private subnet, so that I can have an internet access. So normally internet access will be provided only for the public subnet, not your private subnet. Or in case for additional purpose want to fetch the data and so on, right? For that we require the private subnet also requires your internet access. So that case we are going to use NAT gateway. So like we are going to discuss about all these things in this course, right? So these are the resources that we are going to discuss. Same way in the availability zone also we have NAT gateway. NAT gateway is being connected right with your internet gateway, you can see here, and it is being connected with your private subnet. The NAT gateway, like private subnet is internet connected with the NAT gateway. NAT gateway is connected with the internet gateway. Through internet gateway only we are getting connected, right? So through the internet gateway only we are getting internet, right? To the private subnet, right? So inside the private subnet, all we have this resources getting connected, right? All these things are available here. Got it? So this is the large architecture available. So this is a large architecture available, right? Now let me see one by one. Second one, we should know what is cloud architecting. We should know what is cloud architecting. Right, architecturally, right, around 2000, Amazon was struggling to make a new shopping website. So do you know, like before 2000, Amazon was likely to create this Amazon.in or .com website. It was struggling like anything because so nothing was, everything was totally messed up, right? So the website they wanted to document it. I want to scale it, highly available. They want to make it highly available, scalable, right? According to AWS CEO Andy Jassy, at the time Amazon e-commerce tool were a jumble mess. The application architects were built without proper planning. It was difficult to separate the services from each other. So they create a lot of services, but they are not able to separate the services, right, from each other. So the solution is Amazon created a well-architecture, well-documented API here. So already it is messed up, right? They wanted to document it, right? So they decided, Amazon decided, and they documented it. So they created a set of well-documented API, which becomes a company standard for service development, right? It becomes a company standard. So like Amazon still struggling to build application quickly, right? So like database, computer storage components took 3 months to build. Like each team builds their own resources with no planning for scalability or reusability. So for this, what is all this problem persisted here in Amazon, right? So Amazon built an internal service to create highly available, scalable, reliable architectures on the top of its infrastructure. So like still they are developing services here, but it takes more than 3 months, right? And they want all the resources to be highly available, scalable, right? And it should be reliable, so that on the top of this infrastructure, they built internal services here in 2006, and they started selling all the services. So this is the architecture, right? Now this is how the architect, architecture is nothing but a planning, right? Design planning. What is architecture? Architecture is nothing but structural planning and design planning, right? You're going to plan accordingly, right? So the stakeholders, like, right, decision makers, right? See here, the customer, decision maker, right? They are my business goals and requirements, right? And they are giving the customer giving the they are calling the architecture and giving the architectural design. So he is going to create architecture design, and is going to build a crew and the delivery team, and he is going to give the design here, and he wanted to complete the he wanted to create a structure, complete structure. So that is what cloud architecture. Architecturing is nothing but design patterns, right? Structure design. You have to create a structure design. That is what cloud architecture is all about, right? So being an architect, you're going to design, right? And then based on the design, you're going to construct complete structure here. Got it? So now see here, this is what all about cloud architecting. So you know very well, right? What is the architecture would do in all your companies, right? IT companies, right? He's a person who knows every day, he knows each and every design, right? He used to create a design, he used to document it, and he used to give it to the team leader, and will be allocated, stories will be allocated to the programmers. You'll get stories based on it, you develop the application and finally integrate it, right? This is what you do. That's all I'm telling you. Got it? So what is the role of architecture? He's going to design. He'll come to know each and everything, and he's going to put in the form of a design. Got it? So this is all about the architecture, right? Cloud architecture. Now we're going to discuss about well architecture framework. Right? Like 5 pillars, well architecture framework. Yes, I told you. So totally it was messed up and they decided to document it. Right? So they created well architecture framework like on security, operational excellence. These are the 5 pillars in well architecture framework. These are the 5 pillars in well architecture framework like security, operational excellency, reliability, performance efficiency, cost optimization. Right? For each and everything, we require security, right? And operational excellency, right? It should be reliable and it has to perform efficiently. And you have to look for the cost optimization also. Right? These are the 5 pillars of AWS, right? So, like we are going to see one by one. Security pillar, right? So you're going to identify the foundation. You're going to trace it, right? Secure at all layers. We're going to secure the all layers here. Risk assessment and mitigation strategies will be taken care of. Got it? So first you're going to identify the foundation. We're going to trace it, and after tracing it, you're going to provide if there is any problem, right? Or you're going to give security to all layers, right? So now see here, when it comes to operational excellency, ability to run and monitor the system here, to continuously improve the supporting process and procedure, right? So we're going to deploy the application, update it, and then we're going to operate it, right? That comes under operational excellency, right? Ability to run and monitor your system. You're going to run and monitor your system here. Got it? Whereas coming to reliability pillar, right? Recover quickly from infrastructure or service disruption, dynamically acquire computing resources to meet the demand, and if there is any mitigation disruption such as misconfiguration, the transit networking issues, you're going to address it, right? It should be reliable, right? Any application, right? Any resource should be reliable. It should not be disturbed, right? So soon, very soon, we have to recover it from the infrastructure service, right? So or dynamically it has to acquire the computer resources to meet the demand. Dynamically it has to get ready, acquire the computing resources, right? That is called reliable pillar. Performance efficiency, right? Choose the efficient resource and maintain their efficiency as demand changes. As and when demand, first of all, when you choose a resource, you have to choose an efficient resource, and you're going to maintain the efficiency, right? And democratize technologies, employ the mechanical sympathy, right? And cost optimization pillar thing is that you have to measure efficiently, eliminate the unneeded expenses, unwanted expenses. Consider using managed service. When I use managed service, you can optimize your cost, right? For using managed service, what you're going to do, you're going to connect with the AWS. So fully it will be managed by AWS only. Only certain things you're going to manage. Otherwise, right, you can optimize your costing. Got it? So these are the 5 pillars available, right? So like well architecture tool. What is well architecture tool? So help you to review the state of your workload and compare them to the latest AWS architecture best practice. So we'll help you to review each and every state of your workload. Whatever workload, whatever data comes in, right? So we're going to review and review the state of your workload, compare them to the latest AWS architecture best practice. Whatever workload comes, it's going to review and it's going to compare with the AWS best architecture practice. And give you access to the knowledge and best practice used by AWS architects when you need it. Right? This tool will give you the knowledge and best practices so used by AWS architects, right? Whenever it's needed. Deliver an action plan with step-by-step guidance on how to build a better workload for the cloud. It is going to give an action plan step-by-step how to, or it's going to give a guidance, right? How to build a better workload in the cloud and provides a consistent process for you to review and measure your cloud architecture. And it's going to provide a consistent process, right? For your review, and it's going to measure your cloud architecture here. So what is well architecture framework, well architecture tool here? So this as and when the workload comes, it's going to review and it is going to compare the workload with the AWS architecture, right? Best practice. And so it is going to give a best of like it is going to give a knowledge, best practice what AWS architect do, right? And it is going to give a step-by-step guidance and plan to build a better workload, right? For this, we're going to use a well architecture tool here, right? You're going to use a well architecture tool. Right? Next one is best practice for building your solution on AWS. What is best practice? So now designing trade-off, evaluate trade-off so that you can select an optimal approach. Right? The trade, consistency, durability, and space for time and latency to deliver the high performance, prioritize the speed to market for new feature over cost, base design decision or empirical data. Right? So you're going to trade off here. Got it? So like you're going to trade on consistency, durability, space for time and latency to deliver the high performance. In order to deliver the high performance, right? So we're going to trade off. Got it? And you're going to prioritize the speed to market a new feature, right? So like we're going to prioritize the speed in order to market new features based on the cost, right? This is design trade-off, right? See now, first thing is first one is like best practice. First one is enable your scalability. You have to enable your scalability here, right? So ensure that your architect can handle challenges in demand. The user cannot access application, right? So thing is that the application server serves at full capacity here, right? So thing is that application should application serves all full capacity here, right? So user cannot access all the application. It has to. That is a best practice, right? So never server new servers take time to launch. So administrative manual launches the new server, right? It's an anti-pattern. Means that what like. So when you go for best practices, right? So if anything happens with the server, right? So what happens actually? So the administrator or the hardware engineer comes in turn, and they will try to rectify the problem manually. So it takes such a long time. So till then, the transaction and the users has to wait, right? So we have to ensure that it is getting scaled automatically, right? It is going to have fault tolerance, right? So that what do you do is that so the user cannot wait for such a long time, right? Administrator need not manually launches the new server, so it takes such a long time to. So when administrator comes here, right, he was to launch the new server manually. It takes such a long time. This is an anti-pattern. So you're going to enable your scalability here, right? So like now see here, user never experiences service interruption here because right application servers at along the threshold. Whenever there is a problem, right? So the application is going to alarm your threshold here. So that so that you're going to get ready and the new server is ready before capacity is reached. So that right, this is the best practice. So this is the best practice. Now this is the problem, right? So like we are getting a problem. Now say we have a data center. We have multiple of servers. A particular server is getting a problem, right? And we are going to wait until the hardware engineer comes here, and then you're going to rectify it, right? It's an anti-pattern. But what is the best practice, right? So before you get a problem, right? So it will be threshold. You're going to alarm, right? Or when the problem when the problem is faced, when the problem is reached, then it's going to give an alarm, right? So immediately the new server will be ready before the capacity is reached, right? And Amazon EC2 auto scaling is alerted and scale out. So it is going to give a alert. Auto scaling is going to give an alert here, right? They're going to alert you so that it can be automatically scaled out here. Automatically be done, right? This is a best practice. Unless until right somebody comes and does it, you cannot wait it, right? So that this is the best practice. You have to see that automatically the server is ready and the capacity and it is going to manage here properly, so that so necessary things will be taken and precaution will be taken here. This is the best practice. And automate your environment. What if you don't do automate your environment? What happens? You will face a lot of problems. Right, application server crashes here. Right, administrator manually launches configure the new server, right? So when the application gets crashes, right, what happens? So the administrator will come and manually launch your config. User manually notifies the administrator, right? So then user will manually notify the administrator. Administrator will comes and you have to rectify it, right? So like application server caches, right? Amazon CloudWatch automatically detects the unhealthy instances. So what is this CloudWatch? CloudWatch is nothing but a monitoring tool, right? If the monitoring tool is there, right, so that it will try to whenever the application is getting crashed, it is going to identify automatically. It is going to detect and it will be notified by us. That is the best practice, right? Otherwise, this is anti-pattern. This is going to be best practice, right? Along with your server EC2 instance, so Amazon EC2 auto scaling automatically launches and configures identical server. So this EC2 auto scaling is going to launch and identify the server automatically, and automatically notifies the administrator also. The automatic login actions to be change management solution. Right? Everything is happening automatically here, but here it will be done manually. So when I do manually, what happens here? You're going to face a lot of problem. Right? What if I do it automatically? Right? For this, what we're going to connect a lot of resources here. Right? So the EC2 instance is connected with the CloudWatch. The CloudWatch is in turn is going to monitor each and everything, right? When you try to log in, log out, till that what are the resources you're going to use it and what all you do, but right, everything, it'll monitor your server, everything, right? When anything happens, immediate notification will be sent to the administrator and particular user. Based on that, automatically everything will be done. Will be get ready within a span of time. Got it? So that your transaction will go normal. That is the best practice, right? The next one is treat the resource as disposable. Right? Take advantage of dynamically provisioned nature of computing. Right? So you treat the resources disposed, you know very well. Over time, different servers end up with different configuration. Resources run when they are not needed, obviously. Right? Hard-coded IP address prevent flexibility. It can be built on, or it can be difficult or inconvenient to test new updates or hardware that is new. This is an anti-pattern. Got it? Over a period of time, what we have different servers, it gets end up, right, with different configurations. And resources run whenever it is not required. Right? Sometimes when it's needed, the resource will not run. When it is not required, that resource will run. What is the use then? Right? Hard-coded IP address will prevent the flexibility. And hard-code the IP address. Right? It is not going to be automatically assigned. Right? If you don't have hard-coded IP address, is going to prevent the flexibility. Can be difficult or inconvenient to test or update our hardware that is in use. Right? Whereas coming to best practices, you're going to automate your deployment of new resources with identical configuration. You're going to automate everything. Got it? So they terminate resources that are not in use. Whichever is not in use, you're going to terminate those resources. Switch to the new IP address automatically. Right? Test your updates on new resources and then replace the old resource with the updated one. Every time what you do, you try to test your resources and you can then and there you're going to update your resources, which is going to be done automatically. This is the best practice. Right? So you're going to automate everything, you're going to automate here. Whichever resources is not working, which is not in use, which is not needed, you remove it and automatically switch with your new IP address automatically. It has to be assigned automatically. Right? So these are the best practices, right? So you like what if it is nothing, even a household article, right, or something is not working, the TV is not working, but what we do, we repair it, right? And we again, and after repairing, until even if we'll go and give it to the TV shop, he will say we will make us to wait for 1 week or 1 month. We'll wait for that, right? But this is not the case with our company, right? So it has to be automated, right? You cannot wait for such a long time, right? So thing is that so no, we are going to use new resources. Then whichever is not needed, we are going to remove it and we're going to switch with new IP address. And then we're going to test it and we're going to then and there we're going to update the resources here. That is the third best practice, right? And use loosely coupled components. We're going to use loosely coupled components here, right? What if I use tightly coupled components? Right, then so each and everything, right, you have to depend on application cover. Now see here, now this is an architecture with independent component. You're going to design the architecture with independent component, which is not reliable with on other component. Right? What if it is relying?
So since that the web server is getting connected with application server, which is tightly coupled, right? So everything will be depend only on application server. When anything happens to application server, then web server has to wait, right? Even though they give a request, right? It has to wait until it get resolved. But the best practice is that here, the web server is going to be separated and application server will be separated. It will be balanced by load balancing, right? It will be directly connected with only with the load balancing, right? Web server will be connected with load balancing, and application server will be connected with load balancing. Will be decoupled here, right? With the load balancer, it will be decoupled here. That case, right? It is loosely coupled so that we can manage. Right? This is the best practice. Otherwise, it will be dependent. It's not dependent with each other. Web server is not dependent on application server, or application server is not dependent on web server, right? It is loosely coupled. Got it? The next one is design service, not server, right? You have to design the service, but not the server here. A simple application run on persistent service. Application communicate directly with one another. Is obviously right. So static web assets are stored locally on instance. Backend server handle user authentication and user state storage. So these are the anti-potential. Right. The static web assets are stored locally on the instance. The backend server will handle the authentication and all the stuff. Right. But what is the best practices here? So when appropriate, consider using containers or a serverless solution. The best practice is what? When you use an application, right, we have to consider using containers, right, and a serverless solution. A message queuing handle communication between applications. We're going to use MQ here to handle the communication between the application. Here we don't use all these things. And static web assets are stored externally, such as Amazon Simple Storage Services. Here, in the best practice, what we do, all when it comes to static website here, are stored locally in the instance. It has been stored in the instance. But here, what we do, we're going to store everything on the S3 bucket. All the static resources, right? Static website, all the information will be stored in the storage resources, right? What if we use it for, or if we don't use it such a long time, we can able to move to Glacier or some other resources here, right? So it depends upon the frequently accessed, we can maintain. If it is frequently accessed, we can maintain in Amazon S3. If it is infrequent access, we can move it with some other S3 bucket, right? Infrequent access Amazon S3, Glacier, we can move it, right? So likewise, we have different resources here, right? And user authentication or user state storage are handled by managed service. It has been managed by the backend server here, but here it has been managed by managed service here. Managed service means managed by AWS, right? But here it has been handled by backend server. But this is the best practice, right? So like we are going to use appropriately, we're going to use some containers here or the serverless solution here to manage your application, application. And so communication between the application, we're going to use MQ, message queuing. And all the static assets, all the static information, images, everything will be stored in here. Amazon S3 bucket, which is called simple storage service. And authentication, everything will be taken care by the managed service here. But here, the normal situation will be used, it will be done by the backend server. That is the design service, but it is not server, right? That is what this is anti-pattern, this is a best practice, right? And choose the right database solution. So, right, the thing is that you have to choose the right database solution, so match the technology to workload, not the other way around. Right, read and write needs, total storage requirement, typically object size and nature of the access to those, object durability, all these things you're going to think of, right? So thing to consider to choose a right database. So what is how much reads and write you needed? What is the total storage requirement you required as of now, right? What is the object size, right? And nature of the access. What is the nature of the access, right? Of these objects. What is the durability? Yeah, durability 99.99% requirement. How much requirement is needed here? Latency required, right? Less the time. How much you're going to get the throughput, right? Then the maximum concurrent users to support, and nature of queries, what kind of queries you're going to give it, required extent of integrity control, all these things you're going to consider to choose a database, right? And avoid a single point of failure. You're going to avoid the single point of failure here. Assume everything failed, then design this backward, right? Everything fails, that's all, right? Where possible, use redundancy to prevent single point from bringing down the entire system. You're going to use redundancy, right, to prevent the single point of failure. Anything happens, right? So the data is stored in the cluster, or it will be stored in multiple databases, so that to avoid a single point of failure. Now here this application server is there. So everything we are depending, even the database server is being connected to application server, right? So anything, if anything happens to application server, so database server cannot able to provide solution or cannot do anything, right? Even database server fails. So no user can able to connect with your database server, right? So to avoid this, then what you do, you have to go for redundancy. These are the right. So you have to go for best practice. See, application server interconnected with the database server. So here we're going to have two database server here, right? One is going to be primary database server. The other one is the database secondary database server. Got it? So you're going to have a replication here. So that this is the best practice, right? You're going to replicate your data here. And create a secondary standby database server and replicate the data, right? To avoid this single point of failure, right? So similar way, application server, maintain database server goes offline. If it goes offline, no worries. There is a secondary database server is there. From there, I can pick up all my loads, right? So to avoid a single point of failure, we do this, right? And optimize your cost. You have to, for this, you have to think all the consideration here. Are my resources the right size to type for the job? For this job, is it the right size? Right? What are the metrics should I use? What are the monitoring tools I'm going to use it here? How do I make sure to turn off the resources that are not in use? So when it's not in use, you have to turn off, right? Even in a house, what we'll do, right? Irrespective of, right, whether we are working or not, like we are there or not, fans will be going on, right? Or tube lights will be blowing, right? Everything until and unless if you feel it, right, then you go and switch off, right? That is not a best practice, right? Right. We keep on going. Nobody will bother. Your son will be going and sitting somewhere else. Even in the morning, you will put the light, tube light, and he'll be sitting and studying, or he'll be watching YouTubes and everything, right? But he'll not worry about it, right? So the best practice is what you have to monitor, and you have to optimize your cost. In order to optimize your cost, right, whenever it is required, then you're going to use it. Otherwise, you should not use it, right? Same way here. So what are the resources is required for you? What is the right size and which type of job you required, right? So what metrics should I monitor? Right? What are the metrics, right? So how do I make sure of to turn off the resources when it is not in use? How often I will need to use this resource? How much time I'm going to use this resource? All these things you're going to consider to optimize your cost. We're going to plan it such a way that so that you're going to maximum you're going to use the resources here. Got it? So these are like then next one is use caching. We're going to catch minimum redundant data retrieval operation. So for improve your performance, right? We're going to catch, right? For catching, we go for best practices, right? Anti-pattern is that the three requests for equal latency and cost here. So it's being stored here in S3 bucket, right? So like data retrieval is going to be, it is not going to be very easy here. And for this, what we're going to do, we're going to use Amazon CloudFront, right? And so using the best practice, we're going to, for catching, we're going to use Amazon CloudFront. With the help of CloudFront, we're going to store the data into my S3 bucket, right? The second and third and end request are at the lower latency and cost here, right? So for this, we're going to catch, but not to catch the from a catch the minimize redundant data retrieval, right? We're going to use Amazon CloudFront here, right? And secure your entire infrastructure, right? In order to secure your entire infrastructure, what you're going to do, you're going to isolate all your infrastructure here. And you're going to encrypt the data in transit and also in the rest. You're going to encrypt the data. Enforce the access control granularity using principle of least privilege, right? And also you're going to use multi-factor authentication, you know very well. So you use multi-factor authentication, use managed service here and log access of resources, then automate your deployment to keep the security consistent, right? So to secure, you're going to secure the entire environment. I already told you, each and every layer you're going to secure it here, right? For this, what you're going to isolate your part, you're going to encrypt your data, right? And then you're going to use the least privileges, right? For access control granularity.
And you're going to use multi-factor authentication to secure, right? You're going to use managed service, right, to secure your entire environment. Got it? So these are the best practices. Got it? These are the best practices that we use, like all these 10 points, right? You have to consider, right? So the next one is AWS global infrastructure, right? All this stuff, like we'll discuss in the next class, right? So, but anyway, I'll complete this AWS global infrastructure also. Okay. So, like you know very well, right? Region. What is region? Region is called a geographical area, right? So, like each and AWS region consists of 2 or more availability zones, right? In a region, we can see, so it contains 2 or availability zone, 2 or more availability zones here. So, communicate between region uses AWS backbone network infrastructure, right? We are going to use AWS backbone infrastructure here. Enables you to control your data replication across region, right? So to control the data replication across region, so the regions are enabled here. Got it? So what is a region? Region is nothing but geographical area, right? Geographical area. Discuss geographical area. What is region? Region is nothing but this is geographical area. Got it? So we are going to connect with more than one region, right? Inside the region, what we have availability zone. Inside the availability zone, we are going to have local zone and so on, right? We have different things, right? So now each availability zone, what is availability zone? Right? What each and availability zone is make up of 1 or more data center. Inside the availability zone only, we're going to have data center here. It is designed for fault isolation, right? Interconnected with other availability zones in a region using high-speed private link. So inside the region, we can have multiple availability zones. The multiple availability zones are connected within the region with a high-speed link, right? For certain service, you can choose your availability zones. AWS recommends replicating across availability zones for resale. So AWS is recommending you to replicate across the availability zones here, right? So inside the region, we're going to have an availability zone. What is there in availability zone? Availability zone contains your data center. All availability zone contains your data center here, designed for fault isolation, right? So like each and every availability zone is connected with your high-speed private link, right? So like I already told you, inside the availability zone, we have a local zone. Enables you to run latency sensitive portion of application closer to end user and resources in specific geography, or an extension to an AWS region where you can use AWS service in geography proximity to end user. Let you place, so here you're going to place AWS compute, storage, database, and other selected services close to your population, industry, and IT centers where no region exists today, right? You're going to add all these resources here. Now I'm going to select Hyderabad region here, right, which is going to be very closer to me, right? So I'm going to enable of my latest latency sensitive portion, right? Then I'm going to add all the resources here. Right? I'm going to add compute service, storage service, database services, or whatever is required, right? And I'm going to use managed service also, right? So now, this local zone, but actually every region will not have a local. Only some regions will have a local zone. Like Los Angeles will have a local zone here. AWS local zone is available by invitation, right? So what is there in data center? What is data center? Data centers are where this is our data processing actor. Volume of data will come, sir, so many workloads will come, the data processing will be done here, right? Data centers will have 10,000 servers. Thousands of servers will be there. It will be in the form of rack, like a shelf. Inside the shelf, all your servers will be there. Physical servers will be available, right? All the data centers are online serving customers, right? We'll be trying to connect it with all data centers, right? Because we are using a lot of electronic booths and everything, right? Things that we are all connected with multiple data center. When anything happens, we book a case, right? We call the call center, we connect it, right? They're connected with one data center. AWS customized network equipment, it shows for multiple ODM, right? As a customized network protocol stack here. All the data center will have customized network protocol stack here, right? It will be connected with all the resources, right? Will be the data center consists of all security, surveillance camera, right? Everything, it contains everything, users and everything, right? So which is being physically available. All the resources will be available physically. Got it? That is all about the data center. And points of presence, right? So here you can see a lot of points of presence. Got it? So each and every location, right? Availability zone will contain a lot of points of presence here. Got it? Yeah, we can use it for disaster recovery also. Availability zone uses for disaster recovery. Yes. So with this, right? So we complete this session, right? So these are the end of the slides. You can see the link here. You can click on the white papers about. See here, AWS Global Infrastructure page, AWS Global Infrastructure map here, right? You can click on that. It'll take you to the map. Well architecture framework about that. If you want a white papers, you can go that. Security pillar. You want to know more information about security pillar. You can get all this information. Operation excellency, right? You have a white papers here. Likewise, we have white papers for everything. You can click on that and you can get the information, more additional information from the white paper, which helps you to get more knowledge, which helps you to acquire more knowledge and get ready for the certification. Got it? So I stop here. Remaining things. With this, your demo is getting over. So from next class onwards, once you join, so next weekend onwards, we'll start all the classes elaborately and we'll go with so I have to cover each and 3 modules right in one weekend. In a weekend, I have to complete three modules, totally 15 modules here, right? So like if I cover three modules, so that I can complete within 5 weeks. Got it? So like I'll stop here. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Otherwise, we'll wind up this for today. We'll wind up the session for today. Okay, thank you, Nadeem. Okay, then. See you. Bye. Thank you, Srikanth.